promoted Baal worship, and Baal was an idol and not a real God. And so they both made Israel a very, very bad place. Elijah's job was to make sure that most people will still have the respect for God. And so one day he went to King Ahab and told him to stop promoting idolatry around the nation. And King Ahab said that he wouldn't listen, and plus he was fine by himself, and he thought that everything would just go right just fine by himself, and he didn't even care about Elijah's God. But Elijah told him that it would not rain for years until he commanded so. But Ahab did not listen because he thought that Baal had been giving them a lot of rain these past years and that all the crops were growing pretty well. And then Ahab left and Elijah wandered back into the lands, and he stayed there for so long, and God provided him with water from the brook and food from the raisin that would drop every day. Then after a while, he was set to go somewhere to make it rain. And then he was sent and made sure that he would be going to a lady's house. And God led the way, and he met a woman, an old woman, and he asked her if he could get some water and bread. But since the rain was so scarce, everyone was hungry and poor. And she said that, to tell the truth, I only have a few pieces of flour and a little bit of oil. And so I can't make enough. And I was planning this last meal for me and my son, and finally lay down to die. But Elijah said, if you do this, God will bless you and make sure that the oil will never run dry and the flour will stay full always. And so the old woman trusted Elijah and put her faith in God and made the bread just for Elijah. And after that, she checked the oil and the flour, and they were all full that they couldn't pour it all out. So she put all into trusting God, and Elijah felt proud. He stayed with the woman for a while with her son, since she was a widow. And then one day, her son died because of a fever, and she felt too sad that she almost lost hope in God. But Elijah said, do not lose hope, and he asked God to heal her son. And surprisingly, her son got healed, and she was so happy. After that, he left to confront King Ahab, and he said, it's your fault that there's no rain and all the people of Israel are starving. Ahab was so surprised to see Elijah after years of this famine and drought. And he said, it's your fault, you said that. All right, then let's have a contest between the gods to see which one really gives the rain. And so Ahab agreed because he had a lot of prophets and Elijah was only one. Jezebel ordered them to kill all the prophets, so there was almost no hope that they would win. So they met at a location at Mount Carmel where they would fight to see which one is the real God. And so Elijah commanded them to get some stones and make an altar, and he asked them to get barrels of water and a calf. So they killed the calf and laid it on the offering, and they'll see whoever lights it on fire is the real God. All of the prophets were so sure that they would win. There were about 1,000 of them, and Elijah only one. So they put their layering on their altar, and Elijah put his on his altar. And Baal's prophets started to dance and pray to Baal that the offer would light on fire. They danced for 9 hours straight, but not a single spark reached their offering. But when Elijah just made a short prayer to God, he answered with a big fire that lit the stones and even the sticks, and the offering turned into ashes. And Elijah told Ahab to leave because there was a lot of rain that was soon gonna come. And Ahab decided to make haste for home because so much rain was pouring into the land that the land couldn't even stay able from how much rain there was. And Elijah ran after the chariot from how happy he was. And it was a 20-mile trip back home, and he was still able to reach it with his only feet, and Ahab had a chariot. Once Ahab arrived home, Jezebel was pleased to see him and said that Ahab probably got Baal to give rain now. But Ahab said that Baal did not give rain and explained everything. Jezebel was so shocked to hear this that she was enraged and said, "Let me kill Elijah first. If I don't, then let the gods do it to me instead." And so Elijah heard this and was so scared that he ran away very, very far from the palace. And it's really shocking to see that, because even though Ahab threatened him with more horrifying things, Elijah still ran away out of fear that he would get killed. And so he became depressed and stayed there, but God didn't leave him still, and still gave him food every time. Jezebel sent soldiers out into the country and even into neighboring countries just to find Elijah, because she was too mad already. There was another incident that Ahab saw a vineyard near his house, which was really pleasing, and so he decided to ask the owner, who was
Naboth,
who was the owner of the vineyard. He asked Elijah if he asked Naboth if he could buy the vineyard. And Naboth said that he will refuse because he doesn't want to give away his family's inheritance to him. And so the king got sad and went back to the palace. Jezebel saw him sad and he hadn't eaten. And she asked, why was he sad? And he said that Naboth won't give me his vineyard. And Jezebel said, don't let anyone get into your way. You're the king. You can do almost anything. Just kill the man. But Ahab did do nothing. And so instead, Jezebel decided to hire 2 false witnesses to go and confront Naboth, even though he didn't do anything. So
the lesson na lang, anak. Lesson.
The lesson from this story is that even though Elijah was scared, he was still human, because all of us would obviously get scared because we sometimes lose faith in God. So the lesson here is just to always have faith in God, because He will never leave your side.
Amen.
Stand up. Again. One more time. Sabi naman. Amen.